Hello and welcome to the Life Harmony Talk. I'm super excited to have with me an incredible woman who's going to be inspiring us today. Her name is Jacqueline Richards. But first of all, for those of you who are joining for the first time, the Life Harmony Talk is a series of fireside chats where I allow great business leaders share insights on how we can drive the sustainability revolution and foster workplace harmony, and also contribute towards making our world a more harmonious place in the little way that we can. And I have with me Jacqueline Richards today. I'm going to read out her profile. Please listen, and I will get her to do a bit of introduction afterwards. Jacqueline truly understands that dealing with personal financial hardships has an impact on your mind, body, and spirit. A mortgage professional, Jacqueline finds her clients effective mortgages and borrowing strategies, from first-time home buyers to single-parent families to real estate investors. Jacqueline's mortgage strategies are instrumental in effective decision-making. She's committed to the community and has been serving for over 25 years. She has also been with the YMYWCA as a group fitness instructor volunteer. In addition, as a 200 RYT yoga instructor, Jacqueline teaches Hatha yoga and chair cardio fit and chair yoga for the YMYWCA's Young at Heart program. Jacqueline believes in participating in leadership and supports women in business as a proud participant of the Prime Minister's Task Force on Female Entrepreneurs. I totally agree with that. I met her in her support of female entrepreneurs in a group, and we're going to talk about that in the conversation. She's a past co-chair of the Canadian Women in Communication and also the past chair of the Eastern Ottawa Chamber of Commerce and the Ottawa Chamber of Commerce Board Director. Jacqueline is also an accomplished international speaker and founder of Non-Disclosures Mastermind Group. Her book, Yoga for Your Personal Finances, Practical and Spiritual Solutions for Financial Health, is a blending of yoga, chakras, and wealth solutions, the key to enriching your physical well-being, personal wealth, goals, and dreams. She has joined over 29 women with incredible life journeys to share by co-authoring a book titled Ruby Red Shoes, Empowering Stories on Relationships, Intuition, and Purpose. I am so happy to have this incredible woman here who's going to tell us how she was able to accomplish all of this and still get it together. So Jacqueline, tell us how you're able to marry your mortgage profession with yoga and fitness. I mean, how do you cut across finance and wellness and do it so well? Share with us briefly before we go into the conversations today.
Yeah, thank you so much for the invitation. I'm so glad, excited to be here with you. We all have stories and we all have books to write. I will start with really what had me move forward, feel the need to move forward. I became a single mom when my little girl was not quite 2. And it was up to me to make sure there was a roof over her head, because my mom, my grandmother, my great-grandmother, my great-great-grandmother would have said, make sure, Jacqueline, there's a roof over her head. So I went out looking for a home. I figured it out. It's a tiny 2-bedroom and it's perfect for us. I was going to go into the bank dressed. You know, it's that 3-piece suit, as at that time it had to be a skirt, not pants. I had to look the part. I can do this. I got a babysitter for my little girl because I was going to go and get us that house. And I walked in, and of course they made me wait, because that made sense, right? Have a young woman wait to find out if she's going to have that mortgage that she needs. So a gentleman in a 3-piece suit, a rather large gentleman in a 3-piece suit, welcome, Mrs. Richards. I'll accept that. And I have a seat. So when is your dad coming? Okay. He's not on my mortgage. He's not on the application. He's not anywhere here. And, you know, if you know where he is, I believe he you might want to let me know. Then he says, oh, well, when is your husband coming? My application says that I'm separated. Wow, another hit, another hurt. Well, why not, right? I said, I am separated. If you read my application, that would be fair, don't you think? Have a seat. When it's done, I sign papers that I really don't know what's on the papers. He chose not to explain what's on the papers, but I'm in the front, outside, taking a large, deep breath. So I lift my shoulders, I take them back and drop them down and think, I'm going to get there. I'm going to get there. I didn't want to be the only woman who ever felt like that with that big decision. So somehow it made sense that I was offered the opportunity to walk into the mortgage industry. And I said yes, because I don't want other women, and really men, to feel the way I did. In the meantime, as I said, I'm a single mom, so I should look like I'm ready to date. So I make sure that I go out to the YMCA and work out. I need to make sense for me for this. Like many people who get a health club membership, sometimes you go once, twice, 3 times, and then you're done. I did not want to do that. I wanted to stick with it. Well, become an instructor, and then you have to stick with it. So I became an instructor. So yes, I taught high-low. I taught cardio kickbox. I taught, you name it, I taught it because I love the art of making the body in sync with the mind. And if I took that long, deep breath, remember I said I walked out of that bank and I lifted my shoulders, I took them back. That's a yogic breath. And if I can bring my mind, body, and spirit into that space where I'm calm, where I'm cool, and I am so very collected, why wouldn't yoga have something to do that? Why wouldn't fitness have something to do with that? As a YMCA volunteer, they were kind enough to say, hey, Jacqueline, we are putting together a yoga certification course. Would you like to participate? What do I say? Really? Yes. Yes, I am. What an awesome opportunity. And so what I can give to my daughter, I can give back to me. And so she's watching me train in the yoga and train in the group fitness. And so she's watching mommy do all sorts of things because mommy's kind of busy as a very busy leader. And so I said yes to the YMCA for the group, for the yoga certification course. I did it, loved it. And you know when there's always more to learn. So I continued, which is, you noted that I got my 200-hour yoga certification. It made me smile. And I thought, well, if I can breathe and smile through my body and my mind, why couldn't I do that with my money?
Yeah, right.
You know, how many have said that? Really, how many have said, why can't I breathe with my money? Why can't I energize my money? Why can't I energize my spirit along with my my ideas of where I want to be in the next, I don't know, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years?
You are loaded with a lot of strategies for us today.
Huge, which is, here, I'll show you. So this is the book. This is the book, Yoga for Your Personal Finances. And in the back is me. And I didn't think I was doing much other than, let me help people figure out what they can do in a yoga and breathe. And I have stories about money. Lots of stories about money.
Wow. I love what you said. When you said that, I was trying to find a pen to take notes so I don't skip that. You said it's incredible when you're able to get your body to be in sync with your mind. You're going to tell us how you do that, how our audience can do that going forward, because we live in such incredibly stressful times. You and I know the pandemic has come, the crisis is here. We have a disrupted economy. We have so much going on. People are overwhelmed, uncertain, and there's so much, not just stress and overwhelm, but anxiety in the place. Because anxiety is as a result of not knowing what to do, not being sure that you're in the right place. People are losing their jobs. I hear that 18 million jobs are going to be lost in the next decade. So there's this fear, and this fear that's crippling, that's holding people down. We're going to talk about that. So the first question I have for you is, you deal with finances, you're a mortgage expert, and you're bringing in the concept of, mindfulness and yoga and finding a way to connect your body to the decisions you're making every day. How can people handle the fear of, what could go wrong? Especially in the times that we're in. We know so many things have gone wrong already. What further could go wrong? What if I don't survive this pandemic? What if my business doesn't survive? What if my career doesn't survive? What if I lose my job? What if I lose my relationships? How can people handle the fear of losing the things that they are used to, the things they're accustomed to, like their money, their reputation, their assets?
Again, another tremendous question. And if I suggested we take our ego out of it, I know we call them problems. I think they're challenges. I really do. We're busy being challenged with what we have right now. And so we can sit in it and think, oh my gosh, what did I have and what did I lose? Why wouldn't I sit down and think, okay, so I cannot be at the YMCA to do my step class. I cannot be at the YMCA to teach my classes because it's closed. I am challenged with now what do I do? So I will accept that challenge. And I know out there are people who are wondering, now what am I going to do? I will not have an excuse for not taking care of my body. I can go outside and walk in nature. I can do yoga outside. I can do yoga inside. I can drag my little girl out with me and we'll do yoga outside. No, we'll speed walk. We'll quick walk. It's not a problem. It's a challenge. So why don't we step up to the challenges? I know people have either lost hours in their jobs or, as you said, lost their jobs. That is not a problem. It is a challenge. What is next? Maybe it's one of those things you always wanted to do. Did you know that online is huge? And there are people who will help you come online. I have a good friend of mine who, and it's funny when it started, it shouldn't be funny, but when all of this started, when COVID started and we were going to need masks, she called me and said, Jack, I don't have too many hours, because she's actually, she's a great gardener. She owns a business and it's gardening, and that's fantastic. But when people aren't in a place to pay you for the work that would be done, what should she do? She called me and said, I have a room full of fabrics that we could make masks with. Problem? No. Challenge? Possibilities. So we go online. She's got a website. She's going to deliver free of charge these masks, because why not use her mind, her body, and her spirit to do great things while she waits to figure out what's next. We're in a place where families are together tighter and longer than expected.
Than ever.
Yeah. So hopefully we're all smiling, but sometimes we're not. That's not a problem. It's simply a challenge. So why don't we, one, go shopping, complete the list, come back. So we're going to have a nice dinner together, and we're going to smile and ask questions. And when we're done, someone's going to do the dishes, and someone's going to go and read, and someone's going to go and work in this tiny place we call our home, which has now become our home, our office, and our playground.
That's cool.
There's so many things that we can choose to reassess, to unblock and open a flow of opportunity.
So what you just did was a perspective shift. Sometimes it's just the language. Because when I coach my clients, I'm telling them to be very conscious of language. Language is everything. Mm-hmm. So when you look away from problem and you look at challenge, it changes your perspective. It shifts a lot of things for you. And you're saying, rather than ask the questions, what if it doesn't work? What can go wrong? Ask, what do I do? Because you're always capable of doing something. And ask what next, meaning you are expectant of something better. Imagine how those questions, those just simple reframing your language can seriously drastically alter situations. And I love the story you told about your friend who found an opportunity to get creative and to serve. Problems often come wrapped up in opportunities often come wrapped up in major problems. As a matter of fact, the bigger the problem, the bigger the possibility. So I love the perspective shift that you gave us. Hopefully our audience can take that home and reframe their the language they use and the questions they're asking about challenges, especially the ones that we didn't create. Like COVID-19 came as a crisis, as unexpected. We didn't create that. What are your strategies for reducing issues like doubts and fear? I'm a woman. I run a business. I have to encounter clients every day. I have to pitch my business idea. I just actually finished creating a new set of products. I have to pitch those products to customers. I have to face people and believe in what I am doing so much so that I get them to believe. But sometimes, Jacqueline, you and I know the doubts creep in, the fear. What if I don't sound good? What if I don't look great? What if nobody believes me? How can we deal with those issues of doubts and fears that keep us from truly living out our best lives?
Yeah. I dealt with that day in, day out. And I needed to, especially as you move from one opportunity to another opportunity to another opportunity, but it doesn't seem like an opportunity. It's, how is it possible I could ever do that? How is that possible? When I became the chair of the Eastern Ottawa Chamber of Commerce, I did not know that I was the first woman minority who'd become a chair. Wow. I had no idea about that. And isn't it brilliant that it didn't matter to me because I was there to help my community. That was, for me, that was my job. I mean, I had a job that put food on the table, and it led, that did so much for my heart to know that people are helping people. What do you do? What do you do? It's, and I'm sorry, I'm just so caught in the people who said, I'm not sure that we could do that. I said, if we all band together, we can. We spent a lot of time at the food cupboards. We spent a lot of time with charities who needed help. And so I'm just one, but I'm surrounded by many. My team, my chamber team was kind of like my mastermind group. Okay, I can't do this, can you do that? You can't do this, can you do that? I am so privileged to know that if I picked up a phone and said, I could use some help, which is something I think we should do more often. I could use some help. And all of a sudden, there's many who've stepped in. Many.
So what you're saying is make it less about you. If you have an assignment, if you have a service, if you have a job, if you have a product, it's not about you. It's about the people who will be impacted because you stepped into your place of service. So when you take the lens away from you and the focus is less on you, and if I don't step out, somebody might struggle because I'm not serving. And when you do that, you'll be able to connect with like-minded people who will collaborate with you. You'll find the community of people who will help you bring forth that gift or that ability that you have. I think you did a lot for me in this session, because I'm taking the strategies for myself, not just for the audience. And and what I'm taking away from this last question is make it less about you and more about others. And that way service is easier. It's easier to get rid of the doubts and the fears.
Yeah. Wow. But at the same time, while we're doing that, my mind needs to know that when I get up in the morning, I write down the 5 things that I'd like to do. I need to accomplish just 5 things. And then when I get settled down in the evening and decide to find time to sleep, I will write down the 5 successes I had today. So I washed my dishes, I washed my car,
Yeah.
I helped 5 clients, and my product is in someone's hands. Just 5. All of that. So yes, you're right. It's so much about those who need what we have, not to be afraid to say, this is what I've got. But then for me to know that I did that for me too.
Wow. Because the Life Harmony Talk is also about fostering a sense of fulfillment. Leaders, I've met with leaders. I've been one of them who, we just do our work because we feel we have to serve, we have to pay the bills, we have to put food on the table, we have people to take care of. Not, we do the work with less of a feeling that this is what I should be doing with my life every day. And what you're saying is, when you get up in the morning, you must have your priorities, you must have your principles laid out. Then at night, before you go to bed, you must evaluate. So the evaluation process is, where you now say, thank you, I'm grateful, Lord, for the ability to be able to accomplish the things that I set out to accomplish.
Yeah.
So it's a win-win when you step out there and serve. You're not just, empowering others, you're also getting yourself to enjoy fulfillment. Now let's get to the next question, Jacqueline. We talked about, digital. So how, being online has been able to empower many people who would have otherwise lost opportunities to serve. So they found technology as a tool to express themselves. How do we deal with information overload? Because I know now the opportunities to learn are incredible. You can get on your device, whether it's on mobile, and you have access to a ton of, information. But we still struggle with, what should I be learning? What should I, which course should I take? There's too much, there's an array of them. So how do we deal with the information overload so we don't get to a place of fatigue where we're struggling to decide?
Yeah. And thankfully, I can speak from experience. When COVID began, it's not like I didn't do online, but when COVID began and everything stopped, and then everything was online, I was on Zoom every day, 5 times a day, like every day, 5 times a day on Zoom. And I was watching webinars over and over again, and then taking some courses, because maybe I need to fulfill this, maybe I need to fulfill that, so I'll take that course. It was out of control, and I didn't know how to stop. And so I decided on a Saturday, I closed down all my computers and I left and went hiking, because enough with technology. But on my hike, it's kind of like a meditation. So what would I like to do now? So I'm busy doing my deep breathing. So really, what's important at this moment in time? Some of the things that I was looking at as webinars were great. And somewhere, I'm not sure I need that right now. So I could back burner that, but there are things that were fantastic. And it was amazing when I came back. So on Sunday, I took a breath and said, what am I going to? What do I need? And then let go, because now I know what I want and what I don't need. So it was taking a look at, Zoom I only used it once or twice, but now it's all the time. What else? It's Google Meet. I just using it now for the past month. I had no idea there was such a thing. And then, of course, there's Microsoft Teams. So I'm using words that I would not have used a week ago. But that's where we're at. If I was asked, when are you going to teach your yoga classes online because we miss you? It's a decision. When are you going to teach about yoga for your personal finances online because you did it in person before? That's a good question. You can speak to your clients about mortgages online. Just answer questions. There's lots to do. And so again, on that walk, I need to decide what's important, what makes sense.
Great. So this is a time where, the ability to determine what is a nice to have versus what is a need to have has to come to play. It's
You
no
got
longer, I just have access. You have free access to a ton of things, but the ability to say, well, I have access to this, but I'm not going to access it. I don't need it.
it.
We
Yeah.
need that now. So I had someone say, click with objective. Before you click on that web page, before you click on that social media post, make sure that it is in line with your goals.
Yeah.
It has to have a strong alignment. Not this person looks nice and what they're selling looks nice. It has to be strongly aligned with where you're going. Or
You got
else you might back burner it. Like you said, I love that word, back burner it. I'm borrowing that one. Thank you for that. So let's go to the next questions. What are everyday stressors for you? I have mine. And one thing I've come to realize, Jacqueline, is stressors are relative. One time a client said to me, Jasmine, when I get back from work, my children become a source of stress because then they're demanding, they're wanting attention, and I'm already drained, I don't have it. So they're stressors for me when I get home. Another client said to me, when I get home, I just want to sit with my children and get warm hugs from them and chat with them, and it's stress relieving for me. So it made me a little bit like conflicted. Like, how does somebody else feel the attention of children is stress inducing and somebody else feels it is stress relieving? So I came to the conclusion that stressors are relative. What could be a stressor for me might not be for you. So I have my stressors, but today is not about me. Let's hear what your stressors are. Your daily stressors. Let me mention one of mine. Daily stressors, using digital devices that strain the eyes. If I'm on the computer, on my screens for a long time, I get eye strain, and that causes me slight headaches, and that is stressful for me. So that's just a basic minor stressor. What are your stressors, and how do you handle them daily?
So I ran out of eggs the day before.
Okay.
I ran out of eggs. So your standard, you get up, make an egg, make a toast, add some fruits, and then we're good. There was no eggs. They were gone. Yes, my husband had 3, not 2. I'm like, I have no eggs. That shouldn't be a stressor because I have a lot of work to do, but that was to have my day begin. That it was crazy. So I had to find something else. And yeah, I kind of made comments about it. Next time it's empty, it would be great if you told me. Like, it's an egg. It's an egg.
It's an egg. It's just an egg. We could do without that for now.
So, so I go through my 5 successes of my day. This is how it's all going to go. And it took me an hour to figure out, get over it. That stressor isn't going to make or break your day, but it will if you continue on, because you have clients to speak to. You have a board to be in touch with. That will make you nutty because it's an egg. An egg. So
you had to speak to yourself, and you had to listen to yourself after about an hour of stressing, right? So it's amazing how something that simple could have disrupted your morning. Like someone just looking out for a piece of clothing they thought was there, but maybe they have children who mess with their closet and it's no longer there, and that's like, my day is messed up. But if we can come back, check in on ourselves and check with ourselves to realize that these things happen. That's why I often say, make room for disruptions. I know you have great plans. I think you're someone who likes to be structured, because I can see the background, I can see the backdrop. There's so much structure going on. Just looking at you from my screen right now. So talk to your love for structure, and how, when that's not there, how it can affect you.
Yeah, well, that's called chaos. And it looks structured behind me, and it's quasi-structured in front of me, but there's lots to do. It's, I've got boards that I get to connect with. I obviously have my mortgage clients I need to connect with. And then there's how do you stay in touch with your clients? How do you stay in touch with your thank yous? Congratulations. There are things that I need to have in place so that every single day I know I'm writing, 5 thank you cards. I'm sending out 5 congratulation messages. And that congratulations could be someone who has taken on a new responsibility in their profession. It could be anything. But those are my days. And it needs to be that I can accomplish that. So I'm not looking for 10 of 10, 20 of 20, 5, simple 5.
Right. So do you use routines? Do you use routines to structure your days?
Yeah, you should see it. So from 7:30 to 8, this is what I'm doing. From 9 to 10, this is what I do. It's yes.
Your
I
time
need
blocking.
I have to. I have to. Because someone had said to me, you can't get back your time. So you probably want to use it in the most effective way. And I can say that when I'm going through my dates and times, some things take longer than others. And you know what? I think we need to forgive ourselves with things that didn't go just the way it should have. Take a moment. Just
Honestly,
take a moment.
yeah. And one of my clients said, make time for downtime.
Yeah.
Sometimes we fill our calendars with the things that must be done, that are active, very serious things that require mental and physical energy. Sometimes just make time for doing nothing. So block out time in your calendar for nothing to do, right? So that way that downtime can also fill out, you can also make up for the times that the other activities you've scheduled stretch.
Exactly.
So it's allowing for some flexibility and some fluidity, because Jacqueline, I know that some people can be so structured to the extent that structure becomes stressful. So I often say,
Like my egg.
like your egg, I know, right? Because you don't have there's no perfection in our world. There's going to be disruption. Some things will go bad. Just have the mindset for that. That
Yeah.
I have to learn to handle challenges and disruptions like that happen every day. So thank you for sharing those insights. Tell me about dealing with discouragement. So I meet a ton of clients who, were fantastic in their career, were fantastic in their businesses, but because of COVID-19, the disruption, not just with this crisis, before this pandemic, people have also often dealt with, the loss of a career, the loss of a job, when, somebody's telling you that you're no longer relevant to this organization. I know this is for business leaders, but I've also met business leaders who had their clients just forsake them overnight, saying, oh, we found a competitor who's better than you, who can serve us better. Think of people who had brick and mortar stores, who had, steady clients, who bailed on them and moved to e-commerce, right? So how do people deal with being in a situation where you felt you were doing okay, you felt you had it together, you felt you had all the skills and all the abilities, then life hits you hard and you're feeling like, I've lost confidence in my ability? How can they deal with that kind of discouragement?
That is a painful moment. I have to tell you, I've lived it, seen it. It's it. Those are the questions. What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? And perhaps you did nothing wrong. And maybe this is a time where you get to say, this is what I'm going to do right. I'm going to write down everything I loved about my position, my job, where I was. I'm going to write down how it felt while I was there. I'm going to write down the things that I didn't appreciate in that. And I'm going to go back to the things I loved. And now I'm going to go after and look for things that I love to do. Why wouldn't I ask, would this be an appropriate space for me to be at? I found things that I like to do. I can go online. There's so many ways to find opportunities online. Who has what? And even more so, when you go back, and I sometimes do this, I look at the company that I was with. What are they saying that their strategies were? What are they saying what their successes were? Is that true in my mind? Maybe. If so, why wouldn't I go and look? There are other companies that may say the same thing I have on my list that makes sense for me. I will not be defeated. That's it.
Nuggets, full of wisdom. So I love to catch some very weighty things said in very simple ways. You said, go back and reflect on why you're doing this, why you were here in the first place, then go after. So after you go back, don't stay back, Go
Yeah.
after the things you know are ahead, the things you know are possible. With, oh my God, Jacqueline, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Go back and go after. If you are our audience listening, if you're in a situation where you're feeling discouraged, it is okay. It happens to the best of us. Jacqueline
Mhm.
has lived that experience. Don't stay stuck. Go back to reflect, but go after to project on the possibilities that the position can present you, because there are always possibilities. There's always room for improvement. Jacqueline, we're getting to the end of this. One last question before we do the final, we wrap up. I ask you for your 2 sticky notes for the audience. Have, I don't know if you've heard of people dealing with addictive behaviors, like
Mhm.
mindlessly scrolling on social, doing things that don't add value to you. I've lived it. I've been there, because I'm somebody who has a tendency to keep interacting with people, making calls, making phone calls, and checking up on everybody, because I tend towards that. But I had to at some point caution myself that I'm not doing these activities because I had to do them. I was just addicted to talking to a set of people, hearing them. So how sometimes the behaviors are not necessarily negative, but when we do them compulsively or we do them impulsively, they become harmful to our productivity and our ability to show up as our best selves. So what do you say to people who are dealing with behaviors that don't so much so add value to their overall outcome?
It's interesting because sometimes you don't even know that you're addicted to that action. And it's, you don't want someone to say, why are you doing this over and over and over again? I'm not sure it's appreciated, and I'm not sure I appreciate that. You would prefer that no one says that to you. But sitting back as you review your day, like, should you take the moment to review your day? What did you do? Because I have my little sheet and I know what I did. If it was, I made 30 calls, 30 calls, 30 calls, 30 calls, 30 calls, and nothing, just those 30 calls. Is there something else that should be instilled in there? Is there yet another sticky note of, well, maybe I'm not going to call, maybe I'm going to write. Maybe I'll write a note instead of call. Maybe I'm not going to do that. Maybe I'll invite them to have, because this is what I've done. I do little mini interviews on Zoom with them instead of a phone call. Is there an opportunity for an invitation to connect? I think when you take a look at what you've done over the course of your day, your week, your month, you'll know exactly what you're addicted to. And
Sure.
sometimes, on a side note, it could be a friend. And all you do from 8 to 10 is complain about the same thing. That's addictive.
Wow. So this is incredible. You're saying take stock, track, because like you said, we practice these behaviors without even being aware of them. And we're living in times that call for a higher level of consciousness. You have to be accountable of your 24 hours. You have to be super intentional. So you're saying to us, your advice, and I hope anybody out there will implement, take stock of your day, get a piece of recording instrument, record how you're spending your 24 hours so that you can better structure your day. Could it be that these phone calls you're making consistently could be moved to maybe once a month, where you can have a better experience, like you can have a video conference call with this person, so that one call in a month can make up for those unnecessary 12 10 minutes calls every day. So
Yeah.
great insight, Jacqueline. Thank you so much for blessing us with your wisdom today. I love to bring leaders, people who I have seen lead with integrity, with passion, with compassion. And I saw you when I was with the WBN. You came across as some passionate, powerful woman, and I just knew I had to have you on my talk. I had to get other leaders to listen to your insight. And thank you for making yourself available. It's not easy. You're busy. I know how busy your schedule is, but you made yourself available. Thank you so much. As we wrap up, I want you to leave 2 sticky notes for leaders, especially female leaders like yourself, who are, whether they're struggling or they're killing it or they're doing well. 2 sticky notes of advice to keep them in that place of compassion, of courage, of doing their service for humanity. 2 sticky notes.
You need to know people are watching you. People are watching you. And the people watching you are your daughters, your moms, other females who think they can't be done. People are watching you and they're looking at your successes, your breaths, your thoughts, your comments. Who do you hang out with? They're watching you because you are a leader and we need to continue. Just amazing, amazing, amazing. Let me say that you want to
wow.
volunteer.
I love volunteer. Go ahead.
You just need to volunteer for something. Step in. I sit on boards because I want to see things happen, life happen. Choose. There's so many. So those are my two little nuggets.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for those. Find ways to exhibit the right character. So that's what Jacqueline said in the first sticky note. In the second one, she said, volunteer, always be of service. Jacqueline, to wrap up the Life Harmony talk, because this is for leaders, and the whole goal of this talk is to inspire leaders to live in more harmony. So I like to do two things as we wrap up. The first one is the Harmonious Leader Quiz. So I ask you a couple of questions and you give me very short, straight to the point answers on those questions. And we do the pledge, the Harmonious Leader Pledge, your commitment, your statement of commitment to this cause of living in harmony. So the first question is, I don't know if you've heard the word work-life balance. I want to believe you have. I have heard many, many versions of the word work-life balance. So I've heard work-life integration. Could you tell me any other form of the work-life phrase that you've heard?
It's not even a phrase, it's a word. Pivot.
Oh, okay.
And some say, I don't know what it means. I don't like that word. Pivot can mean anything you want, and pivot. Sometimes we need to pivot.
We need to pivot. I love that. Number two, what does fulfillment mean to you in few words? 4 words or less.
4 words or less. Loving life, loving laughter, loving serenity.
I love those 6 words, but I love them. Yeah. I life, laughter, serenity. Lovely. Finally, on a scale of 1 to 10, how important do you think it is for leaders to live in more harmony? Because I know that, like you talked about character, when I live in harmony within myself, I inspire my family. Before I go out to lead a community or a team, I first inspire my children, my siblings, my immediate family members. So how important on a scale of 1 to 10 is it for leaders to truly live lives that are harmonious?
Oh, that's 12.
Oh my goodness. I kind of knew you were going to do that. Wow.
Yeah.
12. Way, way above. Thank you so much. Now let's do the Life Harmony, the Harmonious Leader Pledge before we sign off.
Okay.
So you're going to tell us what your name is and that you believe in harmonious leadership because. So my name is, I believe in harmonious leadership because. Go.
Great. My name is Jacqueline Richards. I believe in harmonious leadership because we shall always succeed when we are surrounded and appreciated.
Wow. I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for being on the Life Harmony Talk with us today. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your insights. I strongly believe that there is some leader out there whose life will be better because you used your voice. So thank you for lending your voice to the cause of harmonious leadership. And I can't wait to chat with you about other things. We're going to talk about pivoting and a couple of the other things that, we hear going on around right now. Thank you so much, Jacqueline. Thank you everyone for tuning in today. Please send in your questions. If you have any questions for myself or our guest, please feel free to connect with Jacqueline. She's on LinkedIn. I believe she's also on other social media platforms at Jacqueline Richards. So feel free to connect with her. This woman is incredible. You need to have her in your network. Connect and ask your questions to either myself or her, and we will get back to you. Thank you for giving us your audience today. Thank you for making the Life Harmony Talk what it is. I appreciate you, and I'm wishing you life harmony till I come your way next time. My name is Jesmine Onyeukwu, also known as the Life Harmonist.
Thank you.